So, where to begin? The first people of Scotland to be described in the written record are the tribes of the Caledonians. 2,000 years ago, they joined forces to defend their homeland from a Roman invasion. In the shadow of a great glen, they faced the Roman army. The Caledonians fell silent. From their ranks outstrode the earliest named character of Scottish history, Calgacus, the swordsman. He is the first to speak to us from the past. Calgacus was the chosen one. He was the warrior whom the Caledoni tribes of northern Britain hoped would lead them to victory. Defiant, proud, unbowed, he struck the first blow against Roman tyranny. He made a speech. We, the choicest flower of Britain's manhood, were hidden away in her most secret places. Out of sight, we were kept from the defilement of tyranny. We, the most distant dwellers upon earth, the last of the free. There's just one problem. They're not his words. They were put into his mouth by a Roman historian, Tacitus, writing 20 years later. Even if someone like Calgacus ever existed, he would have spoken a language similar to Welsh, and certainly not in the measured Latin phrases of a Roman. This is where the mythologising of Scottish history starts. Be warned, almost everything recorded from those early times is seen through the eyes of others. Tacitus had an agenda. General Agricola and his 3 Roman legions had marched into North Britain in the late summer of AD 84. But to make Agricola appear as brave and heroic as possible, it was important to give him a formidable foe, which Tacitus duly did. At a battle site in the Grampian Mountains, he described the Roman encounter with the Caledonian hordes and their fierce leader, Calgacus.
The fighting began with exchanges of missiles, and the Britons showed both steadiness and skill in parrying our spears with their huge swords, or catching them on their little shields, while they themselves rained volleys on us.
He called it the Battle of Mons Graupius, though beyond his account, there's no other record of it ever taking place. But I think there was a battle in the Scottish Highlands because of one telling detail that Tacitus couldn't have invented. Agricola was given a triumph back in Rome, the bombastic welcome for a victorious general. And one other thing we know for certain, the Caledonians lost.
The next day, an awful silence reigned on every hand. The hills were deserted, houses smoking in the distance, and our scouts did not meet a soul.
Most of the Caledonians, including Calgacus, survived and escaped into the trackless mountains. The Romans failed to tame the elusive warriors of North Britain. Frustrated by their hit-and-run tactics, the Roman legions withdrew to the south. By the next century, Hadrian's Wall, built from coast to coast, had become the line in the sand. To the south lay Romanised Britain, roads, towns, villas. To the north, a myriad of tribes like the Caledonians. The wall wasn't just a simple stone boundary, it was an ideological frontier. It was the end of the world. It drew the line where civilization ended and barbarism began. Not that the Caledonians were very interested in the so-called benefits of Roman rule. To them, it represented tyranny. They had their own civilization. For over 3 centuries, the Caledonians kept their independence secure and the Romans at bay. Then, in AD 409, as the empire collapsed, they helped expel them from British shores altogether. The Romans left behind crumbling ruins and a new name for the Caledonians: the Picti. We know them better as the Picts. The word means the painted ones, for these were the last of the peoples of Britain to cover their bodies with tattoos. The term started as a nickname, but came to mean much more: a powerful northern people, synonymous with pride. The Picts tattooed themselves with the same designs and symbols used on their jewellery and stones. Artistic skills that showed them to be no wild barbarians. More evidence of early Pictish culture has come from the peaty waters of Loch Tay. Here, 4 metres down, archaeologists came across the remains of an ancient stronghold, fragments of a thatched roof and stumps. They were the stilts of a building that once stood above the water. A dwelling in which people loved, lived, and fought.